What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? Today, we are actually going to do something that I didn't think I was going to do. We're actually going to take a look at the question and answer section from my modern day debate with Kent Hovind. I originally didn't want to post it with the other video to try to drive some traffic towards modern day debate, but seeing as how Kent has put up the entire thing on his channel, and it's got about 30,000 views already, loaded with love comments from all of the lovely Christians out there, I assure you. But I wanted to put up the question and answer thing because I think that I had some really good points, quips, and some on-the-fly research during the comment section. So I hope that you enjoy it, and I guess we'll see you after the show.
All right, gentlemen, we will next.
Questions from the audience.
You bet. Question Q&A time. So thanks for your questions, everybody. And with that, give me one sec. Okay. So first up, thanks for your super chat, Brian Stevens. By the way, everybody, if you could do me a favor, I know that Kent had requested if the questions could pertain to today's debate topic, and then Godless Engineer, that's up to you if you're willing to field questions outside of the topic, if you'd like the questions for you to stick to the topic.
Any questions? Fair game with me.
I'm fine with all the questions.
Okay. Any questions then? So, Christopher, I think you had one on Old Testament, something on Leviticus. I'll try to dig that up. Sorry, I told you we couldn't take that one. Brian Stevens said, thanks for hosting the debate. Hopefully we can all stand in unity against the NIFB's hateful message about wanting the LGBT community put to death. Death threats to anyone in capital letters are not acceptable. I don't know exactly what the NIFB is, but we hope that if you happen to identify as LGBT, we welcome you here. We love you. We think God loves you, and not everybody's going to agree with you here, whether it be people in the live chat or moderators all the time, but we do love you and we welcome you here. So, Ronald Madanka, thanks for your super chat as well. If you guys, either of you want to respond to that super chat, you can. I don't know. I wasn't sure if it was toward the channel or toward you guys, but.
Well, I would like to say that today is actually the anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting, where 49 people were senselessly murdered for being part of the LGBT community, and I think that it's a horrible thing that happened, and I think that the people that are part of this new independent fundamentalist Baptist that you often see in the news for calling for the systematic killing of the LGBT crowd, even so far as to praise like the shooter of the Pulse nightclub, I think that those people are disgusting, and they're basically a cult.
Gotcha.
Okay, I am not in that crowd that calls for the killing of them. God's mercy extends to everybody. I think it's pretty obvious these people don't reproduce babies, and that's the purpose of, well, we can get into another topic here. I taught biology. I can give you a long lesson on that if you'd like. But I think it's tragic. Nobody should have gone into the nightclub and shot anybody. It's not our job to take the law into our hands. However, John, 3,500 babies were killed today by abortion. Are you against that too? If it's not
how you
what kind of being is it?
Biology, but then you call fetuses children.
So you don't think an unborn child is a child? Scott Peterson.
I think that a fetus is a fetus. It's not a child.
Okay, so it becomes a child at birth. So would it be okay to kill a baby 5 minutes before it's born, John?
Forgive me, guys, just to get to as many questions as possible. Okay. John, I know that you probably want to answer, John. I'm sorry if it's okay if I.
No, that's fine.
With that, so Ronald Madanka, thanks for your question. He said, is it possible that the flood story is a parable, just like the story of the prodigal son and many other stories in the Bible?
I assume that question's to me. There are no examples in parables in the Bible where names are given, proper names. And it's oftentimes real clear this is a story of parable. No, the Bible story, the story in the Bible about the flood gives all the names, gives all the details, tells where the ark landed on mountains of Ararat. It is not a parable in the biblical sense. I believe it's literally true and demonstrably correct historically and logically. But anyway, so no, my answer is definitely not a parable. Okay.
You bet. And thanks so much.
Oh, sorry. Can I say one thing real quick?
If it's, I hate to say no, just to get to as many questions as possible. Unless you feel like you just like have to say it, I can let it fly.
No, it's fine.
Okay, thanks for your patience. Avidia Nirvana, thanks for your super chat. They asked, to both, are you a materialist, a physicalist, or what? And thanks for your kind words, Avidia Nirvana. So are you guys physicalists or materialists or non-materialists of some type?
Well, I mean, I guess I would be a materialist because I don't think supernatural things are real.
I guess I'd have to have heard whoever asked the question define the terms more carefully, but I think it's pretty obvious there are things more than just material world. Where would you classify love or hatred or jealousy or envy or thinking? Where do thoughts exist? There's obviously things that are non-material in this world. You cannot give a material answer for what on earth is gravity. I can show you what it does. I can explain the acceleration due to gravity, 32 feet per second at sea level, or 9.8 meters per second at sea level. But that's not showing me, that's not telling you what it is. I think it's obvious. If we are, John, if you believe you are just nothing but material matter, how can you trust your thoughts and the conclusion you come to? Because you think your brain evolved by chance over billions of years, nothing but a bunch of chemicals, just matter. Then you can't even trust your own thoughts and conclusions you reach. Well, I don't trust them either, by the way, but go ahead.
Well, what I would say is that gravity is what results when matter bends space-time. So just to point out how that's actually been at. We don't know everything about gravity, but I mean, we know what causes gravity and everything. So, I mean, we know a lot of things about gravity. But as far as how can I trust my own mind, I would say that there are some times when I don't trust my own mind. So I seek for things outside of myself to validate either how I feel or things that I know. And I think that it's in that uncertainty that I can come to the truth of reality.
Gotcha. Thanks so much, gentlemen. Marty Kemiho, thanks for your super chat. They asked, or they had a statement, Erg, please tell Kent that machines won't evolve because they don't have genes. Why is that hard for him to understand? I think that one's for you, Kent.
I didn't understand all the verbiage there. Can you say that again clearly?
They said, please tell Kent that machines won't evolve because they don't have genes. Why is that hard for him to understand?
Oh, it's easy for me to understand. I use it as an illustration to show how stupid evolution is. If machines don't have genes, of course they don't, I understand that. But an animal that has gene code is trillions of times more complicated than any machine. They can understand that a machine can't evolve, but they'll think a living thing can evolve when it has gene code that is beyond any computer code ever written by man. Just the gene code in one cell is more complicated than all the computer codes ever written by man combined. That's in one single cell, and you got 100 trillion cells in your body. How can anybody study the genetic code of anything and believe it happened by chance? That is a special kind of stupid that there's no cure for.
So just to answer that really, really fast. So DNA and natural things that have natural explanations through natural processes are not all that, like, it's not all of that illogical to, come to the conclusion that natural processes cause these things. And we can obviously look at machines and different things that obviously people made that do not have natural processes to explain it. Came about by an intelligent mind or whatnot. But things that can be explained through natural processes do not need any kind of outside actor or sentient being in order to cause those things to happen.
Well, you're welcome to believe that. Yeah, I believe cars just happen by chance. Lightning strikes the iron mines, and cars come out from lightning striking the iron mine. I believe that.
I think. Forgive me, I hate to
way less dumb than your theory, John.
I hate to cut in, you guys. Given that the super chat was for Kent, I'll let him have the last word on that one, and then sorry to stop you, John, but to get to as many more as we can. Avidia Nirvana asked, "What do each of you think about Alabama's awesome new castration law?"
Castration.
Oh, castration. Okay, it applies to rapists and pedos. I don't know what it is. I'm like totally behind on apparently everything. What is there like some Alabama law about castrating people?
Yes. So recently, Alabama just signed into law a chemical castration law for rapists and pedophiles. Basically, if you are convicted of these crimes, you will be chemically castrated. Oh, for people under 13. Sorry, it's only It's only for people that assault children under 13.
Wow. Okay.
This is the first time I've heard of that, but I like what I'm hearing so far. If somebody breaks into your house, John, and rapes your daughter, would you like something bad to happen to that person?
Most likely, if that were to happen, I would probably be the bad thing to happen to him.
There you go. Wonderful. We're on the same page on that one. Protect your daughter.
Well, no, actually, I did not agree that they should be chemically castrated or anything like that. I don't know a lot about it, so I'm going to abstain from actually giving my opinion because I haven't had enough time to actually consider it. So it's not that I think that rapists or pedophiles shouldn't be punished or anything like that. I'm just saying that in that particular law, I don't know exactly what's in it. I don't know what it calls for. I don't know what it can be used for. So I can't really espouse my position on it.
I've never heard of it until just now. I just said what I've heard so far I like. But I think chemical castration or physical castration or execution for certain crimes is logical in any culture, any place. And if someone wants to, a rapist or a pedophile, that seems to be the only language they speak. Explain it to them in a language they understand. Like, Louisville Slugger. Most people speak that one. If somebody comes into your house to rape your daughter, get a Louisville Slugger and explain it to them. Don't do that. Okay?
Gotcha. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Next up, we have Wikey9. Thanks for your question. And they said for comment, for Kent, if mainstream geological models are bust, why do they meet with success in the free market when utilized by oil companies to make money?
I don't think geologic models have anything to do with drilling for oil. They know there's certain strata they're going to encounter that's because of a worldwide flood. You're going to go through layers of limestone and sandstone and shale and stuff like that. But I think if you went to North Korea, you would find all the textbooks are teaching communism works and capitalism's evil. And so all the kids are taught this all their life, and so they begin to believe it. And somebody comes along with evidence like, no, I don't think it doesn't work. Well, they put them out and, they execute them. And so I think America's gotten to the point in our education system where those who dare to stand up against the dumb evolution religion are ostracized. I don't think you can show me any evidence where the evolution theory has helped in the discovery of oil or the discovery of anything. It's not only a useless theory, it's dumb to believe that an amoeba can turn to a whale and a whale has a vestigial pelvis. That's not common sense. I'm sorry. Gotcha. But that is what our schools teach. And I can understand if John goes to school for years and years and learns all this stuff, he's probably going to believe it because that's what he's heard. A kid going to school in Korea for 30 years is going to believe communism works. A kid going to school in a Buddhist country is going to believe Buddhism works. It's a matter of brainwashing. It happens in every country and every culture. And so that's the only reason evolution is popular today, because of the intensive brainwashing for the last time.
Kent, would you say that a Christian kid that was brought up in a Christian country that was taught nothing but creationism would, of course, believe that the Bible's true?
Absolutely correct. Now, but it's the same thing with evolution, though. Do you believe a kid ought to be able to see all sides and make a decision for himself? Should I be allowed to go speak in the public schools so they can make fun of me, John, like you do?
No. Creationism should not be taught in public schools. The topic of religion and theology is obviously not a subject that should be discussed with young children.
So, but it's okay to teach young children evolution, even though there's no evidence of any.
Yes, because evolution is a scientific concept that's been proven time and time again through lab experiments, as well as the fossil record, as well as various different things that you can point to in reality.
Well, I know you keep saying the phrase fossil record. John, there is no such thing as a fossil record. There are fossils, built trillions of them. I have thousands in my museum. There are fossils. That's not a question. It's not a record. These don't talk. They don't have a date on them. No date at all, anywhere.
Are you seriously using an equivocation fallacy to make fun of the fossil record?
I enjoy making fun of evolution in general. I have a blast.
I have a medical record. It is not a fucking vinyl. Sorry, I know. My bad. It is not a vinyl like Beatles album. Okay.
You're comparing your medical record to a fossil record. What a misuse.
You're comparing the fossil record to a Beatles album.
There is no fossil record, John. There are fossils. Trillions of them. There is no record.
Okay, next question.
It's your interpretation you're putting on it.
I think we will jump to the next question. Sorry, guys. Just try to keep moving through as many as possible. Canderman.
Another drink of beer. That'll help. Okay.
Canderman giving a little Joshin to Kent says, "Why do you say water so strangely?" So, just teasing. I don't know if you want to respond to that, Kent. You can. Is that the accent? Is it a southern accent or not?
No, I cannot explain to you how much fun I have making fun of those who believe they came from a rock 4.6 billion years ago. I really enjoy my job. Come down and see Dinosaur Adventureland.
You got it.
It's fun.
You know, I cannot get enough making fun of people that think that God farted the universe out and then sneezed on dirt and created a human.
We've got to go to the...
Who on earth believes that? I sure don't.
We got to go to the next. Got to go to the next question. Avadia Nirvana, thanks for your super chat. They said, "Don't forget to hit the like button." We appreciate that. If a couple of things to announce. One is that we will be doing, hopefully, we're shooting for this coming Sunday. We'll do a charity drive in which all super chat donations will be donated to. We think it's going to be the Diabetes Research Foundation, and so just wanted to mention that as we think we're going to have an argument on the contingency argument for God's existence. And if another way you can help the channel, though, as Avadia Nirvana said, if you're not able to give to super chat, like, no problem, we're thrilled just to have you here. Just by watching, you're supporting the channel. And another thing is, indeed, hitting the like button actually does help. That basically gives YouTube feedback. Basically, user engagement shows that people are enjoying the video. So please do hit like if you enjoyed it. Sentinel Apologetics, thanks for your question. They said, Kent, in Psalm 104:9, David writes that once dry land appears in creation day 3, the ocean, quote unquote, will never again cover the earth. Noah's flood occurs after creation. If it's global, it contradicts David.
Well, that's certainly a misunderstanding of what it's saying. Psalm 103 is referring to, or Psalm 104, after the flood. God himself promised Noah, he put a rainbow in the sky. It's never going to flood the world again. He's going to destroy it next time by fire, but it'll never be flooded again. That's what God's... So I don't know where they get... I've never heard that. Anybody in the world has ever said that one. And I get critics from all over come after our channel, Kent Hovind official. So no, that's not at all what that verse says, that God didn't promise the world would never be flooded at creation. He promised that to Noah after the flood, about 1,600 years later, when God flooded the world, got off. That's why we have a rainbow. It's probably not possible to have a rainbow under high pressure because you have to have clouds to get a rainbow. And if the earth had a canopy of water above, like I believe it clearly teaches in Genesis 1, 6, and 7, high pressure worldwide would be clear skies and extra air pressure, extra oxygen to breathe. You'd live a long time and feel wonderful most of the time. So watch my video number 2. So the rainbow indicate that was part of the promise of never going to flood again.
Next.
Not.
Next up.
Go ahead.
Sorry to rush you. Let's see. So Ronald Madanka, thanks for your super chat. He said, keeping with my last question, what method do you use to discern between a parable and history in the Bible? I think that's for Kent.
Well, the parables, as I said, do not have any proper names in any of them I'm aware of. There are many parables in the Bible. People use Aesop's fables. This is a common teaching method all through history to teach. I do it around here. I show people a fallen tree and say, why did this fall? It didn't have any deep roots. It had shallow roots. The wind blew it over. And so I use dozens or maybe even 100 of them here in the tour. It's a common teaching method to use an illustration or a parable or a story. Aesop's fables is an example. The Bible has many of them, but if there's a proper name involved in it, I know of no cases where that's a parable.
You got it? Thanks so much.
Jesus told about the rich man and Lazarus, who rich man went to hell and could lift up his eyes and see Lazarus and talk to him and hear him and have a conversation. That's not a parable. It's a real place. John, I don't want you to go there. But if you want to go, go ahead. Okay.
We got
What I would say, just to piggyback on that, is that if you look up John Dominic Crossan's Power of Parable, he lays out a very good case for the entire New Testament, especially the Gospels, being a mega parable. And he lays out how it actually matches parable mechanics and everything like that. That is a very good book to read up on if you're interested in parables and the Bible.
Next up, thanks so much. We have Jonathan Brown asks, Kent, what do you do with the Old Testament flat Earth verses?
I don't know of any Old Testament flat Earth verses. I'd like to see those. I've read the Bible many times. Been a Christian 50 years. I think the flat Earth theory is not the dumbest. Evolution is definitely dumber, but flat Earth is pretty dumb, right up there, getting close to it. The Earth is not flat. It's round. It's a ball. It's about 8,000 miles in diameter. Okay.
Well, if I could bring it up, I don't know the exact verse, but there's at one point Jesus is brought up to a point that's high enough to where he can see all four corners of the earth. So, what's your explanation for that one?
I can get on my computer and see things happening in China and Japan right now. I can see every part of the globe that there's internet access right now from sitting here in Lenox, Alabama. So if Satan could take Jesus up on a high mountain and show him all the kingdoms of the world, that doesn't prove the earth is flat. I can see all the kingdoms of the world sitting in Lenox, Alabama.
Can I, let me ask one last question, then we'll move on to the next one. Did Satan have like that AOL with the CD in it, or what kind of internet did Satan have at that time?
I'm not sure if I don't know what kind of laptop he had either. It might have been a Mac or an IBM. I'm not sure. But
it's probably a Mac. He seems like a
when you go to hell, you can ask him, John. Okay.
Next up, we've got another one from Avidia Nirvana. Thanks for your super chat. And they said, to Kent, is quote-unquote beer a bad word?
Deer as in like the deer that run around the woods?
Beer as in like alcohol.
Is beer a bad word? No, it's a word to describe alcohol. I mean, there's depending on the alcoholic content. I've never tasted any. I've seen it wreck a lot of lives, though. Gee whiz. No, I've never tasted it.
Beer is awesome, especially in these situations.
Especially in these situations. John, are you getting nervous? Come on now. Is your religion being attacked?
No. Because I don't have a religion, so it's not. You can't attack something that's not. It'd be like me slapping a leprechaun.
Okay.
We've got Avidia Nirvana. Thanks for your other question. They said, to Kent, have you heard of Jesse Lee Peterson? If so, what do you think of Jesse Lee Peterson?
Never heard of Jesse Lee Peterson. Don't know anything about him. Who is it?
He's a controversial pastor online. We've requested to have him on, but we haven't heard back. But he's a character, so I don't know what else to say. So
sorry, never heard of him. Don't know anything about him.
Thanks for that question. And then Anon Y Mouse, thanks for your question in super chat. He said, does Kent understand the difference between petrification and permineralization? Fossilization is the latter, not the former, as defined by the scientific literature, and that takes more than a few days to weeks in nature.
I think I clearly understand the difference, as I mentioned when you asked the question. I think there are several different types of the way fossils can be formed. There's replacement fossils, there's mineralization, permineralization, there's, I got to go back and look up all the different kinds, but sure, it happens different ways, but it can happen rapidly. The fact that you have fossilized soft tissue indicates it did not take millions of years. It couldn't take more than a few hours or days in some cases. Fossilization can happen rapidly. That's my point. I show examples in my seminar number 6. Watch the Hovind theory, and I cover that on there. Well, yeah, marriage has nothing to do with having babies. I mean, it often produces babies and should, but no, yeah, of course, I don't understand that question at all. About 20% of the population now cannot have babies, is what I've heard. Well, I guess it depends on how you define marriage. I think all through history in every country in the world, it's been defined as a man and a woman. And if you want to be like, who's the guy who says there's 57 genders? He needs to have a long talk with his mama. I think, from my knowledge, there's only 2 that I've ever seen. So, okay. I don't think there's any such thing as Pangea. People say, do you think the continents were ever connected? And I say, what are you talking about? They're still connected right now. If you got a long pair of stilts, you could walk from America to Africa because the ocean has a bottom to it called the ocean floor. They're still connected. The whole world is connected right now. The low places are full of water. That's all. Doesn't mean, what do you mean, were they connected? They'll take the shape of the continent, say Africa looks like it might fit South America. Well, my house and the neighbor's house would fit too if you slid them together. What does that prove? Doesn't prove nothing. I think that Pangea is a really extremely stupid theory. Okay, but go ahead. I do think the continents are sliding around and moving a little bit. That could be the result of Noah's flood and the cracks of the earth opening up. And the earth has fault lines all over the place. Just the mid-Atlantic ridge, I think, is 47,000 miles, goes clear around the earth like a zipper and spreads out a couple places. And yeah, the earth is busted up, and some of the plates are still moving. But Pangea is a really dumb theory.
So Pangea is not actually a really dumb theory because we find fossils in different parts of the globe where we wouldn't expect the fossils to be found, and that only makes sense if Pangea was an actual supercontinent in the past. There's nothing to support his whole idea that water, a half a mile thick water thing below the earth of the crust was before the crust of the earth is actually a thing. There's no evidence to support that whole idea. And so I will touch on the whole the squid fossil thing. I actually just looked it up, and it's not actually the soft tissue that's fossilized. It's the harder parts of the cephalopod that would have been fossilized, like the shells that they often inhabited, and they would be squid-like creatures. So you're not actually correct in the fact that a squid fossil of soft tissue was found.
I think you need to do some more research. They have found fossilized octopus, fossilized starfish.
This is from the University of Kentucky Geological Survey website. So it's an actual university with actual scientific information.
Got to be true if it comes from Kentucky.
Next up, we thank you for your patience, everybody. This is the worst I've ever done at muting myself and then not unmuting. So the questions that I had read is, I said, basically, the one about Kent, I'm married and can't have babies, is my marriage valid? That was one that I had asked. And then hopefully everybody heard the one about petrification, permineralization. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, it's been a long day. Sigifredo Sarabia, thanks for your question. And we got to, question intake is closed. I'm really sorry, we got to try to wrap up. Basically, they had said, I asked the question about Pangea, right?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Brian Stevens asked, has Kent ever seen a genetic algorithm which is based on biological evolution? It shows how randomness can achieve a goal-based fitness.
Have I ever seen a genetic algorithm based on evolution? I guess I don't understand the question completely. I think certainly people make up all kinds of stories about the genetics and similar DNAs and try to think that that maybe proves something to somebody somewhere. But genetic algorithm that proves evolution? I think you can make up any stories you'd like about genetics and say that, because you could take English sentences, sentences made out of English words and compare and see how many letters are similar and say, wow, this sentence has 98% similarity to this sentence with the letter structure. It doesn't prove any relationship. What they're doing, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. That sentence contains every letter of the English alphabet. What if I said the quick brown fox does not jump over the lazy dog? I probably have, 90% similarity, but it has a different meaning. So if there are differences in the DNA codes of different animals, like they say humans and chimps are 98% similar, which they're not. They're less than 91% now, the more they dig into it. But even if there's a 1% difference, again, it doesn't prove a similarity in ancestry. It proves a similar designer. The same guy designed them. That's all. Anyway, so have him fine-tune the question a little bit and try it again.
And I would say special pleading, but go ahead to the next question.
Next one. Thanks for your patience. Science enthusiast, getting to the last ones here. They had said, is Kent aware that George McCready did it first? I'm not sure what you're referring to when you say he did it first. Do you guys know what that might be referring to?
I have heard of George McCready. I don't know much about him. Apparently he was someone who taught creation years ago, and they try to say he did it first. I think God actually did it first, and then Adam would have done it to his kids, and everybody would have talked about creation for a long time, until somebody just a couple hundred years ago decided to come up with the dumb idea of evolution. But no, George McCready did not start teaching creation first. A lot of people have taught that, and taught the earth is 6,000 years old. That's common teaching for all throughout history. Well, at least the earth is not millions of years old. It was just in the last 200 years this dumb religion came along that says, oh, it's billions of years old. It's just not true.
Gotcha. Next up, Tommy Fuller asked, Kent, what makes evolution a religion?
Well, you have to believe in it. You have to accept it by faith. There's no evidence for it. No farmer in the history of the world has ever seen a dog produce a non-dog or a cow produce a non-cow. They believe it happened. They've got lines on paper connecting them, but there's zero scientific evidence that it even can happen. Certainly there's no evidence it has happened. Ask any farmer of anything, whether it's plants or animals, corn or cows. Cows produce cows without exception. Dogs produce dogs without exception. There is zero evidence of this evolution theory that they're teaching our kids. It is a religion you have to believe in. They believe in it completely without scientific evidence. There is no scientific evidence. No fossil could possibly count as evidence of it in a court of law. You find a bone in the dirt, all you know is it died. You can't prove it had any kids, and you sure can't prove it had different kids. And why don't animals today produce different kids? If that one in the past could do it, well, why can't they do it today? How come cows always make cows today and dogs always make dogs? There are no exceptions. You may believe in it. You may believe in it very strongly. I'm sure the Buddhists believe very strongly in their religion, and the Catholics believe very strongly, and the communists believe very strongly. It doesn't make it true. And they might even find a lot of people who believe in it. Majority opinion doesn't matter. Even if everybody believes something, that doesn't make it true. There's, 1.3 million or billion Muslims who believe that Muhammad was a prophet, and he split the moon in half. That doesn't make it true.
What I'll say is that while dogs do not produce non-dogs because of I can't remember the technical, the scientific term right now. Dogs, of course, will always produce dogs, but they exist within the same species. So, it will produce a different kind of canine eventually. Like eventually down the line, it'll change and it'll be unrecognizable as a dog given whatever environment that it's in. So I just feel like this entire rant that you just went on shows exactly how you don't understand what evolution actually is.
Oh, I think I clearly understand it, and you see that I understand it, and you called it a rant because you're getting embarrassed because your religion's being exposed. That's okay though. Dogs produce dogs. Now, John, hold on one thing. You said dogs will always produce dogs. Did a dog come from something that was non-dog billions of years ago? Is an amoeba a dog? Is a single-celled creature a dog?
Do you know what a dog is? Tell me what the species of a dog is, like domesticated dog.
Well, there's Canis lupus, Canis domesticus, Canis coyotes. There's 4 or 5 different ones we put in the same family.
Yes,
the animals.
The Cladus canine, right?
Sure. Okay. is an amoeba a dog?
No, because an amoeba exists separate than that particular clade. Look, you don't know what evolution is. Can we please move on to the next?
Oh, I know clearly what it is, and it's stupid.
No, you don't.
It's real stupid. But go ahead,
James. Can we move on to the next question?
Last super chat. Let's see. Marty Camijo says Kent makes me thank the goddess that I'm pagan. My guess is that's for you, Kent.
Well, I don't understand that one. They want me to thank their goddess that they're pagan?
They said Kent makes me thank the goddess that I'm pagan. So I think they're a polytheist.
You can believe whatever you want. I don't care what you believe. I believe there's going to be a judgment one day, and you're going to wish you had a savior, but if you don't want it, okay. The Bible says in the last days the scoffers will be willingly ignorant of the creation, the flood, and the coming judgment. They don't want to admit there was a creation. They don't want to admit the evidence for a flood, this debate tonight, and they sure don't want to admit there's a coming judgment. Okay, I'll see you at the throne. You'll be there. And every knee shall bow, and every tongue shall confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. Coming soon to a city near you, John. Go ahead.
Next up, Sentinel Apologetics. Tommy Fuller and Sentinel, these are the last ones. Tommy Fuller says, Kent, doesn't your Bible say man came from dirt?
Absolutely. God took dust of the ground and made man. General Motors takes metal out of the ground and makes cars.
Gotcha. We're glad.
To say God can take dust and make man is very different than saying dust can make man by itself, which is what John believes.
Gotcha.
Very different.
Let's see. The last one, Sentinel Apologetics, thanks for your question. He said, Kent, Psalm 104 is not about the flood, but a paraphrase of Genesis 1. All ancient Near Eastern scholars see it as a polemic against the Egyptian Aten creation hymn.
Tell him to give me a call. I'll straighten him out.
Gotcha. We appreciate everybody being here. So I want to say we can't take any more questions. I'm really sorry about that. We went overtime. But with that, I want to say thanks for being here. We appreciate everybody. Both of the speakers have their links in the description below. And I know that one thing is we definitely went over time. So I want to give a special thanks to the debaters, and especially Kent, as I know that usually they have an event scheduled after this. And so we really appreciate you being extra flexible. It means a lot. And I will try to figure out how we can actually keep to an hour and 5 minutes and not an hour and 45 minutes. So thanks for staying that extra 40 minutes.
Thank you for having me. Do it again anytime. And John, bring 10 evolutionists with you. I'll do 10 on one next time if I get half the time. Bring all the experts.
That is not a Brazers episode I want to be part of.
So we are glad to have you both. We hope everybody has a great time. Keep sifting out the reasonable from the unreasonable, and take care every glitch. Take care, everybody.
Well, that was the question and answer section. Did I get something wrong? Did I answer something incorrectly? Please go down below in the comment section. Let me know. I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. While you're down there, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe if you like this kind of content. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice, and I will see you heathens later.